All right, guys, so we got to react to this pretty epic video that is going viral online about a liberal black woman getting a reality check, okay, on the consequences of her vote, okay, because you have a lot of these people, particularly in places like Chicago, they're complaining about all the Democrat policies that they just realized negatively affects them, mainly things like the immigration crisis and the sanctuary city policies of the Democrat cities that they're in that allow the cities to take in these illegals and force them to take care of them on taxpayer dime at the expense of the voters, the residents that live there, okay? And again, some of these people have just all of a sudden become educated on their local politics, and then they're speaking out about how terrible these Democrat policies have been. However, it seems as if they're having issues really directing their votes in the proper direction in order to remedy the problem. Like, for example, Lori Lightfoot. The people of Chicago were complaining about crime when it came to Lori Lightfoot. However, they turned around and voted for Brandon Johnson, who is more progressive than Lori Lightfoot and softer on crime. Again, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. These people complain about Democrat policies and then they turn around and vote Democrat. So this woman is going to get a reality check here from this group of men on the consequences of her vote, okay, and the fact that she's complaining about things that she voted for, which I don't think a lot of these people really realize.
1980, which of course should have been changed a long time ago. So they bringing them in. You wonder where the money coming from. They taking it, the COVID fund that was here, that money. You talking about all the pro housing programs. So when people pay rent, all the rental programs, that money, all the programs that we have in the city of Chicago, they are bankrupting us. They are taking from all of these programs that we have, and they're taking the money and they're funding the migrants. Our taxpayers, we've already paid $32 million out of our taxes to house and take care of the migrants thus far. Now, we already know the only ones who qualify to become citizens in asylum here from the starts of if they were here after August, they don't even qualify. But here we're going to be taking care of them for 5 to 7 years while there's paperwork floating on people's desk. And why? Send them home. Send them back. But Venezuela already said, oh, we're not taking them back.
I
now,
got a question for you. Who did you vote for?
First of all, I have no problem with saying that I did vote for Biden because I was not voting. Okay. I did. Okay, but here it is.
Hold on. That was the question. Okay. Now you answered it, right?
Okay.
This migrant influx that we're dealing with right now, this is your fault.
Okay, well, let me say, hold on. First of all, let me.
Yeah, it is. Right. It is her fault. Okay. And that's what these people need to realize. Okay. Because black women specifically vote Democrat at a 95% clip. There's no other demographic when you talk about gender and race that votes for one political party at the same level, the same consistency as liberal black women, as black women overall. I mean, you can just throw liberal out of there because there's not too many not liberal black women, right? A vast majority of them are liberal or progressive, okay? And she is one of them. And they are a large part of the reason why Democrats continue to maintain power and control, because you literally have one demographic of people that are voting for them no matter what. Everybody else is using their brains, right? Everybody else is thinking, okay, this don't really make sense. We don't really want to vote for Democrats for X, Y, and Z reasons. We don't like crime. We don't like an open border. We don't like sending money overseas. We don't like high taxes, right? We're not going to vote for Democrats for various reasons, okay? But, black women, on the other hand, doesn't matter what it is. They're going to vote for Democrats. Doesn't matter. Okay, and then they boohoo, whine, and cry. Ew, why are you spending our tax dollars on illegals? Well, you voted for it, right? You voted for it. Okay, but again, this woman is from Chicago, and Chicago is a place with a lot of corruption. And this next story I want to talk about has to do with voting in Chicago and corruption, as Brandon Johnson, like I told you guys, is a progressive, and he was very overt about what he wanted to do, right? He told you that, yeah, I think that we should share our resources with illegals, okay? And that's what really blows my mind about these individuals that are so surprised by what Brandon Johnson is doing. It's like, no, he told you what he was going to do. You just line up and voted for it anyways because he's black and he's a Democrat. But anyways, what he also told you that he was going to do is raise taxes on the rich in order to pay for welfare programs, okay? And in his initiative called the Bring Chicago Home referendum, that is what he would try to do, right? He would try to implement a real estate tax and to use that funding to solve the homelessness problem in Chicago, aka probably funnel that money to more migrants, right? And some of these so-called nonprofits, these liberal run nonprofits organizations that are making a killing, millions of dollars off the backs of taxpayers to take care of illegals. So with that being said, you can imagine that in today's economy, Biden's economy, raising taxes is probably not going to be a popular policy proposal, okay? In fact, it's so unpopular that Brandon Johnson partnered with the Chicago's Teachers Union, a organization that he is in bed with. I think he used to be a teacher in Chicago, so he definitely is in bed with this organization. He is very pro-Teachers Union, which is one of the most corrupt organizations in this country, to basically force students to get out and vote Democrat, to vote in favor of this referendum. Something that they probably have no idea exactly what they're voting for or why they're voting for it, but they're being told that they must vote for it, right? And I want to play this news clip because this is the corruption of the Democrat Party, okay? They're basically forcing kids. They're using taxpayer dollars to basically coax kids into voting for policies that they agree with, right? Which, again, is just extremely messed up if you are a taxpayer in Chicago and you have a child going to a school in Chicago and you're basically saying, hey, I don't want my taxes to be raised, or I'm voting to not have my taxes be raised, but yet I am paying taxes towards a system that is incentivizing my kid to go and vote to raise my taxes, right? Again, it's extremely messed up to think about. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Housing is a human right.
Students joined in chants of "Housing is a human right" as they marched to the polls today, led by members of La Casa Norte and Chicago Votes. This was billed as an effort to help high school students vote for the very first time.
I feel very excited. I think it matters and it's important to vote.
But the nonpartisan integrity of this event under question, with it starting with a congressional candidate forum hosted at the headquarters of the Chicago Teachers Union, a staunch advocate of Bring Chicago Home. That's the ballot referendum that would change the real estate transfer tax rates to raise millions to help the unhoused.
There are hundreds of students that don't have a house. We need to bring important costs to this because a lot of people just go out. There's people on the streets every day. We just pass by them. It is very important that everybody has their own house.
Also of note, on chairs throughout the auditorium, there were voter guides with a link to chicagovotes.com. In there was a comic strip showing the mayor pitching the referendum and another showing a polling place saying your valued vote is needed to bring Chicago home.
Register voters right now.
Again, just overtly partisan, progressive propaganda. Okay, and this is what they're pushing on kids. Okay, so again, if you're a taxpayer in Chicago, you're a parent, you pay taxes, and you say, hey, look, I don't want this increase in taxes, okay, because that's what it is an increase in taxes. I don't want this to happen, right? I don't want to do this. But yet you're paying taxes to support a system that is then turning around and telling your child who, again, you pay taxes for them to go to school, that, hey, you should vote in order to raise taxes. Again, the corruption is just in your face, right? It's just overt and in your face. This is the type of indoctrination that's happening in our school, guys. And this is why they push the LGBTQ, the gender, the race stuff, because ultimately what they want is for these kids to vote Democrat. That's what they really want. See, they're skipping the bullshit, right? They're skipping all that, okay? They're just getting straight to the meat and potatoes of what they really want, which is for these students to go out and to vote in favor of what progressives and Democrats want. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
It was an issue teachers had talked to students about in the classroom before this event.
And they never really forced like a decision onto us, but they definitely gave us information about it. I definitely believe that it's important. It's a significant factor, and I definitely feel like people should definitely be for it.
Bring Chicago.
People should definitely be for it. Again, how do you think she came to that conclusion? How do you think she came to that conclusion? Do you think this person would have voted had it not been for this indoctrination? Probably not, right? A lot of these kids would not have showed up. But here we are. Here we are.
Home was not officially part of this Go to the Polls event, but the campaign was clearly hoping to win support from young voters sympathetic to the cause. A Chicago Vote spokeswoman bristling at the notion students were being unduly influenced to vote in favor of the referendum.
It's been kind of insulting to hear from elected officials and things that they keep assuming that young people are being pressured by adults to vote a certain way because young people are entirely capable of making decisions on their own.
But at some CPS schools, teachers were doing more than just educating students about Bring Chicago Home.
They help with like the homelessness on the streets and stuff and make housing more affordable.
Did your teachers encourage you to vote for it?
Yes.
And that youth vote could have a significant impact on whether the controversial referendum passes.
Watch breaking news.
Yeah, of course. Did your teacher encourage you to vote for it? Yeah, of course they did. They all did. I mean, when you, again, I guarantee you, they're not giving both sides of the argument. They're not saying, well, this is why it's bad, or this is why it can be negative, and this is why it can be positive. No, I guarantee you, the information sessions that they were giving were all, well, this is why you should vote for it, right? This is why it's good. This is why housing is a human right, which is not, by the way. But yeah, this is what they say. However, it appears that the corruption was not enough, okay? Forcing these kids to go vote for this progressive initiative was not enough, at least as of right now, as of the making of this video, in order to get this initiative passed.
That voters have rejected the controversial referendum on the ballot. It would have given City Council the green light to raise the real estate transfer tax on high-end property transactions. Mayor Brandon Johnson and progressive supporters had hoped it would generate revenue that would help Chicago's unhoused population. The measure has been fiercely contested in court by a coalition of real estate and development groups, but passionate supporters last night said they will wait for every mail-in ballot to be counted, and they plan to keep fighting. Opponents maintain Bring Chicago Home would raise rents.
We're not going to give up. There are over 100,000 absentee ballots that need to be counted. Our struggle will continue.
I felt like it was going to cause a lot of rent increases around the low-income community. It was going to destabilize housing for tenants that have been fighting to have stable housing. They're paycheck to paycheck.
Illinois Realtors released a statement saying in part that whatever the result, this is not a time for celebrations, and quote, it's time to come together and find real solutions that provide real housing stability to everyone in our city. Again, supporters say this is not the result they wanted, and it does appear that Bring Chicago Home is headed for defeat.
Yeah, so here we are once again with Democrats, lefties, relying on those good old absentee / mail-in ballots, right? This is what they do every single time. But it seems like in this case, that's not going to be enough to get them over the top, okay? But again, when it comes to actually voting, right, in this situation, you can see that the Chicago residents actually kind of understand that, hey, look, you know, this tax increase, because that's ultimately what it's going to be, this tax increase is going to trickle down in ways that is going to raise the cost of living. And for what, right? For us to tell us that they're going to take care of the homelessness problem and the homelessness problem won't be fixed. I mean, look how much money California spends on homelessness, and it's still massive amounts of homelessness in that state. Anytime progressives tell you, hey, we need to raise taxes in order to fix a problem, best believe that problem will not be fixed, right? In fact, the problem will probably get worse because a lot of that is really just a way to get their liberal, progressive, nonprofit buddies paid to do things inefficiently, right? That is really what a lot of it is, okay? And that is why, I generally don't agree with this type of stuff when it comes to type of tax increases, especially when they say, well, we're going to do it and we're going to solve homelessness. Almost never happens, right? It's always a lie, right? They don't know how to solve homelessness. They can't do it, okay? But they do know how to do it for illegals, though, okay? They do know how to take care of illegals and to make sure that they have a home and free health care and a hot meal and all this other stuff, right? This is kind of how government functions. They only know how to provide these services efficiently when it comes to the illegals. Again, it's pretty funny how that works. So with that being said, Chicago, there are people that are waking up and realizing that, hey, this is what I voted for, right? And some people are deciding that, hey, I'm not going to continue to vote for this left-wing lunacy. And we'll see if there's any change in the future. I highly doubt it. I don't think that it's going to change at all. I honestly think that a lot of these liberal cities, you just got to give up on, right? You just got to poke fun at them. And it sucks because the people there are suffering. But you just got to poke fun at them, use them as an example of what we should not become, because they're not going to change, okay? They're not going to change. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.